Welcome back to Fear Begins, where terror hides behind every story. Tonight's tale isn't just another Halloween urban legend, it's something much darker. A story rooted in small-town mystery, restless spirits, and a house with a memory that won't let go. Before we begin, have you ever seen something you couldn't explain? A shadow in your peripheral vision? A voice with no source? If something like that has ever happened to you, share it in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. Fear Begins wants to know who's brave enough to keep listening. Now turn off the lights, lock your doors, and get ready. Because this Halloween, something is waiting. It started with a flyer, a blood-red invitation posted at the local diner, the library, even the high school bulletin board. Dare to survive the night. One night in the Grayson house. $5,000 reward. Halloween only. The text was in a blocky, old-style serif font, the kind you'd expect from an old typewriter. It had no phone number, just an address and a time. PM. October 31st. Everyone in town knew the Grayson house. It was the crown jewel of local haunted lore. Built in 1913, it had been abandoned since the 1980s after a string of disappearances and a notorious double homicide. People said it breathed when you weren't listening, that the windows blinked. I never believed in any of that. But I needed the money. So did three others, Ryan, Tasha, and Marco. We were all college students home for Halloween break, each of us, with our own reasons for needing a quick few thousand. We met up just after sunset at the corner gas station. Ryan had brought a crowbar, Marco had a GoPro strapped to his chest. Tasha had brought her camera and a Ouija board, of course. We pulled up to the Grayson house just before 9. It was 3 stories tall, rotting wood siding, paint stripped away by years of neglect. The porch steps sagged, and the front door leaned, like it was just barely attached. It looked like it had been waiting for us. As we stepped onto the porch, a motion light above the door flickered on. That was strange. There was no power here. Nailed to the door was a paper, the same red as the flyer. To receive your reward, remain inside until 6 a.m. Do not open any windows. Do not attempt to leave. Do not speak to anyone outside the group. You will be watched. We looked at each other, nervously laughing it off. Typical haunted house theatrics, we thought. Ryan forced the door open with the crowbar, and we stepped into a wave of dust and stale air. The inside smelled of mildew, iron, and something else, like rotted flowers. The door slammed shut behind us with unnatural force. Marco spun around. Did you push it? No one had. It locked itself. Tasha checked the knob. It wouldn't budge. Well, she said, we're in now. The interior was mostly intact. Old furniture covered in sheets, faded wallpaper, cracked chandeliers hanging like teeth. Marco turned on his GoPro light and started recording everything. This is gonna make an amazing video, he said. We explored the ground floor together. Kitchen, dining room, library. Then we heard the music. A gramophone playing a warped version of a 1930s waltz echoed from upstairs. None of us had touched anything. We followed the sound to the second floor, where we found a child's bedroom. The gramophone was spinning on its own. On the floor was a doll, its eyes missing. Tasha stepped inside and reached for the doll. That's when we heard it. A whisper. Not from the room, but from all around us. You're not supposed to be here. Panicked, we ran back downstairs. but Ryan was missing. "Ryan!" Marco shouted, his voice cracking. We searched room to room until we heard footsteps above us, thudding, running. We bolted upstairs only to find a hallway that hadn't been there before. It was longer than the house should have allowed, stretching far beyond the external walls. Tasha stared at it. "That hallway, it wasn't here." "No," I said, "it can't be." We decided to go in. The walls were lined with old family portraits. Some had their eyes scratched out. Others were watching us. No matter where we walked, the eyes followed. At the end of the hallway, we found Ryan, standing still, facing a mirror. His reflection wasn't matching his movements. "Ryan," I said, "what are you doing?" He slowly turned around. His eyes were black, not bloodshot, not bruised, just pure, inky black. "Too late," he said. "She's here now." Then he collapsed. We dragged Ryan back downstairs, but he wouldn't wake up. His breathing was shallow. His skin was ice. Then the lights went out. Tasha lit a candle from her bag, her hands shaking. In the flickering glow, we saw writing on the walls, writing that hadn't been there before. "She remembers. She waits. She never left." The temperature dropped, the candle dimmed. Then we saw her at the base of the stairs, a woman in black, veil over her face, long clawed hands dragging behind her. She didn't walk, she glided. Marco raised his camera. The screen glitched, scrambled, then turned black. She opened her mouth, too wide, too long, and let out a sound like dozens of people screaming at once. We ran. We locked ourselves in the library. Tasha pulled out the Ouija board, saying it was the only chance we had. Marco and I were against it, but Ryan was still unconscious and the house had gone silent again. That silence was worse than the noise. We lit candles and placed our fingers on the planchette. "Is someone here?" Tasha asked. The planchette moved. "Yes." "Who?" "Grace. That was the name of the woman who lived here in the 1930s. Rumor was she went mad after her son died and killed 3 people during a seance gone wrong." "Grace," Tasha said. "What do you want?" "Stay." The planchette started moving on its own. "Stay. Stay. Stay. Stay." Then the candles blew out. We heard the doorknob turning, then scratching, clawing from inside the walls. The rest of the night was a blur of terror. Every room changed when we returned. The dining room became a morgue. The kitchen, a nursery filled with broken cribs. The clock struck midnight, but the hands never moved again. At one point, we found a window that looked outside, except it showed a bright day in 1934. People walking in black and white. A funeral procession. The coffin being carried had my name on it. Marco went missing next. One moment he was behind us, the next, just gone. His camera lay on the ground, lens cracked. On the screen, the last frame he recorded. A woman behind him, smiling. It was just Tasha and me. Ryan hadn't moved. In hours, we found a clock in the attic, an old grandfather model, completely unwound, but the hands were moving. Slowly, it read 5:55 a.m. The attic door slammed behind us. We were trapped. Then, the music again. The waltz, closer this time. Tasha started crying. The woman appeared again. Grace. But this time she whispered something new. "Take my place." She pointed at Ryan's body. "Take his place, and you may leave." Tasha screamed, threw the Ouija board at her, and the figure vanished. The door unlocked. We ran. We burst out of the house just as the sun cracked the horizon. The door slammed. Behind us, Ryan stumbled out a moment later, looking normal, confused, but alive. Of Marco, there was no sign. We never found him. A week later, the Grayson house burned to the ground. No cause, no investigation, but on Halloween the next year, the same red flyers started appearing again.